Today, we're going to talk about 3 things that you should consider when coming up with your price. Let's get into it.
Here to show up and show out. Here to show up and show out. What? Here to show up and show out. Here to show up and show out. Yeah. Here to show
Let's
up
talk
and
about
show
it.
out.
First things first. Oftentimes, I think we get this question asked about pricing and how do we come up with pricing? I can tell you, I get this question asked at least 3 or 4 times within a given month, maybe a little bit more than that, especially as I'm bringing on or talking to new photographers and videographers. And the goal when it comes to pricing has nothing to do with just making the most money at the one time. The goal with pricing is making sure that it's strategic, making sure that it's alignable, and making sure that it makes sense. So very first thing that I always look at is, especially when I'm looking at pricing, is I look at my equation, and this is the equation that I came up with a while back, but I've been processing that it takes time. I need to understand the value that I'm adding. And then I also must understand what's the final delivery process. What's the assets going to look like? So you have time plus value plus assets. Say it again. Time plus value plus assets. So time is solely based on how long will I be shooting. Has nothing to do with if it's photo or video. That's a whole nother conversation. That's going to definitely be more in the value adds conversation. But when you think about time, oftentimes clients are saying, hey, we need you to shoot from this time to this time. And so you have to understand what that time block looks like. Also, taking into consideration of time, is there going to be setup needed? Is there going to be a load in time? Is there going to be a moment in which you're not able to come in because clients are there or people are there? Recognizing what time looks like is going to help you get closer to understanding what your price is going to be, especially when you're looking at trying to, of course, negotiate or send a proposal. Next thing is going to be your value. Value add means a lot. And I'll be honest, I really want to come back to value, but I'm going to just dive in it right now because I think that value is really one of those things that it's based on a little bit of timing, meaning how long you've been doing this, but it's also based on your experience, meaning are you knowledgeable or are you experienced in what it is that you're going to be working on? What is it the project that you're going to be taking on? Whether it's a documentary, whether it's an interview, whether it's a corporate event, whether it's product shoots, it doesn't matter what it is. The question is, have you done it before? Clients typically come to you because they just see great work. And they may not know if you have the expertise or if you've done it before. And so you have to, 1, sell them on that you're confident in being able to do it. But then 2, you have to know deep down in yourself, do you know how to do it? Yes, I said it. Do you know how to do it? If you don't know how to do it, I have one rule of thumb. Either you say no or you do it for free. Yes, I'm saying that. Either you say no or you do it for free. There's always the idea of, oh, well, I'll just bring someone on. Well, bringing someone on is one thing, but you're taking a risk that you may not be big enough to handle. And so you need to understand what that risk looks like. That's, of course, a whole risk analysis of saying, is it worth it? Meaning, is there enough money on the table for this? Is there enough opportunity for me to be able, if I do make a mistake, to be able to recover from it? All those things matter. And so when you think about value, you have to say, am I going to be a value add or am I going to be a hindrance to this client? If the answer is no, you're able to refer to someone that you know might have the ability to do it or the skill set to do it. In my group, in my community, I'll tell you, we do this all the time, whether we know how to do it or if we're like, hey, we don't have the capacity to do it. We will say, this might be better with so-and-so. Reach out to them, tell them I sent you. 1, now the client is respecting you and they will come back to you again because they're going to say, hey, I trusted that this person told me the truth. Whether it was they had the capacity or they didn't have the capacity, or I trusted that this person was very upfront and honest and said that they don't do this type of work. I have a client that I've been working with for years. I've made a lot of money with them and I've made a lot of money for them. They came to me recently with the project and I told them specifically, hey, what I would charge you to do this is not worth your return on your investment. Because the truth of the matter is what they were trying to do, they've never done before. They didn't have a large budget. And they really also didn't have a true understanding of what was going to come from it. And so I told them, let's possibly look at another alternative solution. And I gave them solutions on what would work. Now, what you see here is I still gave them value. I still added value to what they were doing. And it didn't cost me anything and it didn't cost them anything. But what it did do was it still continued to build that trust. That's what matters the most. The last thing is assets. So we have time, meaning how long am I going to be shooting? Value, meaning do I know what I'm going to be doing? Meaning have I done this before? And then the last thing is your assets. What is the final delivery? Oftentimes when we come into a space, we think that I'm about to go shoot photos, I'm about to go shoot video. And when I shoot this photo and when I shoot this video, I'm ending this whole process with, here you go, here's your photos edited, here's your video edited. And then the client says, oh, well, can we have 4 more videos? Or can we have 3 micro videos? Or, hey, can we did you get photos of this? And did you get photos of that? And can we have these spaced out or separated like this? That's because you didn't do the due diligence in the beginning to make sure that you knew what you were looking for. Understand what the client is needing at the beginning so that you understand how you charge for those assets. That's right. Because when you're shooting an event, yes, you may develop 1 video that may automatically come within your package. However, they may need 3 videos. So you have to make sure that you're doing your part, definitely as a photographer, as a videographer, especially in the corporate space of saying, hey, this is where we have to charge additional for editing. Hey, this is where we will charge X amount of dollars for 3 more assets. This is where we're going to charge if they want a headshot station. This is where we're going to charge if they're wanting more than just event photos. If they say, hey, can you take a couple of headshots? The question is how many headshots? Why? Because there will be an additional charge for that. There are things that we have to understand, especially as we're navigating this corporate space, on how we charge and also what the client is expecting from us. This does a few things. One, it sets yourself up for success, meaning they know, they're very clear on what they're wanting. Now, at the end, is also helping them to be able to identify, is this person a good candidate for the future? Just because a client asks you to shoot an event today does not mean that there's not a long-term responsibility or a long-term relationship that gets to happen later on. Meaning, they may have 1 event today, but they may have 10 events next year. You want to make sure that you're positioning yourself to be in the right place in the right time to be able to acquire them. So let's look at it. Time plus value plus assets equals your price. Now you're going to say, well, what's my price? What's the right range? That's something that we can definitely talk about on some of our other videos. But the reality is what you charge is based on your experience. What you charge is based on your hourly rate or your day rate or your half day rate. What you're charging is based on, are you bringing a team? The biggest part of this is understanding that you do not have to do it all by yourself. You should not do it all by yourself. I typically do not believe in going into spaces by myself, even if that's bringing on an assistant. Why? Because I always want to make sure that I have everything that I needed and that I'm not stressed and shooting. Don't put yourself under pressure that you don't need to be put under. And so in doing that, make sure that you're calculating your time properly, not just what you think you can do, but also what you can deliver, how you can make sure you're delivering an excellent product. Value, making sure that you know what you're doing. And then lastly, making sure you understand what the final delivery looks like. I hope this helps, y'all. When we're thinking about these things and we're thinking about the 3 things that you must consider when pricing for your clients, I promise you, use this formula, you will come up with the right price. If you have questions, let me know. Let's talk about it some more. Other than that, subscribe in the link.
Here to show up and show out. 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 Yeah.